Hello there. This is going to be a daily tarot reading for the 30th of January. I almost said December, which is today. Today is about halfway through, but I needed to do today's just as a warm-up. I haven't been doing readings on the channel for several days in a row. I've actually been kind of slipping in and out of dimensions a lot recently. I don't know if it's the Pluto-Venus conjunction because it's been going on in my first house, but I kept on waiting for the feeling to pass, but it just didn't, and it's still going on, so I just gave up. And I'm just going to do this. Sometimes in moments like that, I actually feel like the messages come through clearer during those times for me, but I always feel odd, like I'm half in reality and half out of it. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing well. This reading is for the collective. It is not sign related, so anyone can watch it. And if you would like to skip through this part and just go straight to the beginning of the reading, there will be a timestamp down below in the description box that you can click on. It'll take you straight to the beginning of the reading. So let's see what the reading is like for today. And the generals are going to be coming out for February starting today. I'm running a little bit late. Let's see, which one do I want to use? And I have several new decks that I recently have gotten that I've been wanting for years now, and I finally had a chance to be able to order them, so I'm excited because I have some new material to work with. It's always good food for my brain. Sometimes I get tired of using the same decks over and over. Each deck and each artist that makes the deck is completely different in its flavor, so it's always nice to have some new flavors in the mix. So I'm going to do 6 placements. There'll be a theme of the day card and then a story underneath it, and I'll definitely be picking clarifiers like I usually do. Here, let me lower this. There we go. Okay. I have a feeling those two go together. So this reading may or may not resonate for you. Some parts might resonate strongly, other parts might not. You'll just have to see. Here, I'm going to actually flip them over as I go. Oh dear, wow, okay. All right. And if you're curious about the decks that I'm using, I'll put the names of those down below too. Alright, before I get started, I'm going to pick one more with the top two. I just absolutely adore this deck. This is the Arthur Rackham Oracle deck by, I think the company's called Duck Soup Productions or Duck Soup Tarot by Duck Soup, something like that. I've had my eye on this deck for years. I grew up reading fairy tales from around the world as one of my favorite things to read. And I remember a lot of the fairy tale books as having illustrations by this illustrator, Arthur Rackham, from the early 1900s. And I just love this deck. Okay. Yeah. And I'm going to pick one with the other side. Okay. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. I'll be right back. Okay, here I am. So let's get started. Your theme of the day cards or energy of the day is the Six of Cups or the Six of Water, in with the 10 of Fire or the 10 of Wands. So, oh dear, well, I'm going to try to articulate what I'm getting. What I'm getting is that you are having to release an old cycle because its time has come to an end, regardless of whether you want to hang on to it or not. And this could be a treasured person, a soulmate, a dear friend, or even a group of friends, or these are deep connections between people here. In other tarot decks, it usually shows an older boy giving a younger girl some flowers. It's about happy memories, connections with others that transcends this lifetime and this earth that we're on, that go through many lifetimes and many worlds together, many experiences together. Very close-knit, emotional, spiritual ties. And something has happened where there's some kind of an ending, or something has finally relinquished itself, but it feels hard to be able to let it go because there's such connection or heart in it, or even things that are hard to articulate that have to do with just how you feel beyond all reason. And you're having to let go of it, or you're having to let go of something that has timed itself out, or it could also be saying that regardless of the storms through life or the destruction of old cycles, you will always have a connection with your kindred spirits or your soulmates or the people around you that you're close to, that through thick and thin, through all kinds of disasters, chaos, and endings, you still have a connection with loved ones. Or you may be afraid that some kind of a connection is going to come to an end, or is beyond repair, or will take time to heal. So let me... Or you're afraid of what you hold most dear coming to an end, or a crash, or not being able to survive. Oh, my dog's barking. Hang on. Okay. Sorry about that. Somebody was at the door. Okay, so with the 10 of Fire is perseverance, hanging on at the edge. Here, let me look at the picture for a second. It's a woman hanging onto a roof, at the edge of the roof, as if she's trying her best to keep herself from falling off the roof. Meanwhile, there's two women in the background that almost seem like they're snickering, or they think it's funny instead of running over to go help her off. And kind of getting a feeling of, okay, there's a couple of different storylines going on in this reading, so I'm going to try my best to say them all. One storyline is that you thought a group of people or some people in your life were soulmates or dear friends that you could trust, but it turns out that they weren't reliable, or even worse, they're actually working against your favor, or they're not helping you even though you desperately need help or need connection with others. And this is the realization that it's a destruction of a bond with either a few people or one person in particular, because you feel as if you have been deserted or abandoned, and not only that, they don't care, and not only that, they think it's funny. Or it's like a feeling of being betrayed, and also realizing that you are the only one in this situation that is trying to help you. You're trying to help yourself, but nobody else seems to be there for support. This could even be an accident. I'm hoping not. I'm not going to project that out there, but that came up for a second there. And that's just one story. I'll get to other ones too. With the Six of Water, there is disorientation, losing one's way. I'm feeling disoriented just from that. Maybe you are afraid that something isn't what you thought it was, or you tricked yourself somehow, or you're wondering whether alliances are sincere or not, or you're losing one's way, or you're trying to find your way to a feeling of belonging or connection with others, but it's hard to come by, or it's hard to find, or I don't know. It seems like you're recovering from something, some kind of disappointment, almost a tragedy in a weird way. It's like a feeling of being deserted or being left behind, or that you thought people cared, but it turns out they didn't. Or this could just be something that you're processing today. It may not be founded in reality. That might be one reason on why disorientation is in here, is you may be fearing these things. Or your imagination may be bringing you to some possibilities with undercurrents in a situation that is worst case scenario thinking. And so you are confused. You're not sure what is reality in this situation. Or you're trying to find your way back to a certain feeling or a way of living, or a place where you know people love you or care about you, but you have lost your way trying to get there, and instead you've attracted the wrong people. Or I'm getting almost a feeling of sabotage. I don't know if it's self-sabotage or sabotage on the behalf of someone else. But hang in there. Try to hang on. It could also be saying that you were trying to hang on to a situation, and you were trying not to fall. But eventually, if you're the only one hanging on a roof and no one comes to help you, it's inevitable that eventually you're going to fall off, or you're going to have to come down somehow. And so it may be that you were trying to hang on and be have perseverance with hanging on to a situation, but it inevitably just ended because you were not receiving enough help or support. But you do have love and support in here. That's the thing that's confusing me. I can see why it's disorienting for you. There is love there. Let me pick a card to go with the Six of Water here, because it's very different from the other three cards. Or you're remembering something from the past, and it's bringing back feelings of defeat. I don't know. Okay, tell me more about the Six of Water. Transition. Okay, let me give one more shuffle and get one more. Signs. Okay, now I'm intrigued. I'm going to pick one from here. You're given a sign today, or you're hoping for a sign. It seems as though you're going through a deep change or a transition in your life, a way of feeling into a new way of feeling, or reawakening an old feeling that you used to feel. Things feel transitory and disorienting. But you will receive signs, and from people that love you as well, to reach out to you. Let me make more. Influence, stirring up the spirits. Okay. So with the Six of Water, you have transition. It looks like a mummy down below, beneath the trees. A mummy. It could be sleeping, it could be dead, but if it is dead, it seems like it's sleeping. Maybe things are not ending the way that you think. Or maybe an old feeling is ending, but it's also you are becoming something different. Or you're reawakening, you're about to reawaken to something possibly that you haven't felt in a long time. Old memories are being stirred up. Old feelings are being stirred up. But you will receive signs. So pay attention. It seems as though the spirits are talking to you today, because there's influence stirring up the spirits. It's a man with a flute, or the not panpipes. Yeah, a flute. And he's stirring up the spirits. I feel like because you don't have anyone helping you in this picture, if anything, they're deliberately not helping you. The spirits are helping you instead. Or because you are left to your own devices, your understanding of things shifts and you're more aware of the subtle influences around you. Or you may have been influenced by a situation and you're getting more clarity on what exactly is happening, or what exactly is being stirred up here. It seems like a lot of subconscious things. Okay, so down below you have the Queen of Wands. So this to me seems like it's forcing you to be self-resilient or self-reliant, or even to stand up for yourself or speak up for yourself, or to choose to go after what you actually want. It could be that somebody is looking at you and recognizing the fact that you are a strong person. I don't know where that came from, because it seems like you're alone up here. Maybe you have hidden soulmates. Maybe you haven't been able to see them, but they're still there on a spiritual plane. It's like you feel influenced, or you feel a connection to a whole mess of people or spirits, but you're unable to actually see them. They're invisible, or they're somewhere else, but they're there, and you have backup in this. Normally I don't read this card that way because she is very independent. She's an Aries court card. This is about independence and being on your own and being strong in your own body and in your own spirit, to utilize your strength and creativity and self-reliance. But I'm getting that this queen has a whole slew of spirit allies or backup somehow on a spiritual plane that may not necessarily be seen physically, but it's there. And you are being appreciated for your strength. So don't get down on yourself. I can see how this woman up on the roof would be, first of all, would be hurt. And second of all, would get angry. And third of all, get angry at herself for being tricked, or for thinking that somebody cared when they didn't, or someone would help when they choose not to help deliberately. In moments like that, sometimes we can get on ourselves with self-blame of, how did you find yourself in this situation to begin with? Why did you trust those people? Or why did you end up on the roof in the first place? But don't do that. Don't do that. Whatever this is up here that you're recovering from was not brought on to you by yourself. It seems very external, where you just didn't see it. I'm going to pick more with her. Tell me more about the Queen of Wands. You're in the middle of moving from an old cycle to a new one, or an old experience to a new one. You've decided that where you were before is no longer where you want to be, and so you're choosing to move forward. You are not going to be defeated by whatever this is up here, even though it creates temporary chaos, either inside of you or outside of you. But it seems like you pick yourself up and you start moving forward with no hesitation. You definitely know that whatever that energy is, it's not for you. And so you're choosing to move forward, possibly in a different direction or a new direction. And relying on yourself and trusting your ability to be able to do do what you need to do in order to move forward and to have something to look forward to. Then you have navigation, charting your own course. Charting your own course. Seems like this baby knows where he's going, which is very different from disorientation, losing one's way. Maybe you thought you were on the right track and something happens to let you know that that's not where you need to be right now, and so you're in transition. You're in transition from an old way to a new way, or an old direction to a new direction. And it seems as though at first it's very disorienting because you thought you were on the right track and then you realize you weren't. So, and it also might be hard to figure out what is real and what isn't real, or what direction to go in. But it seems as though you figure it out. Or you receive some kind of sign that lets you know what direction to go in or what door to open. So let me look more into navigation. Reflection. Mystery. You are navigating through your own emotional waters today. There's a lot of emotion with these two. There is reflection and mystery. You're navigating uncharted waters of your own emotional nature and your own inner depths. Something about this situation up here has stirred up something in you that goes very deep, and it may be that you're just simply trying to figure out what it is. It may not be able to be figured out because it is a mystery. Oh gosh, okay, I'll be right back. Okay, here I am. It was another person at the door this time who wanted an emergency reading, and it turns out this reading that I'm reading is pretty similar to what she was going through, so hopefully this is coming out for a reason for someone on the channel, because even though she's a regular customer, she never watches the channel, so I'm hoping that this isn't a trend, because it definitely is not an easy reading, although it definitely is a journey of sorts. So, I think we were here, weren't we? The moon is in both of these. There's an owl in mystery, and there's reflection. You are seeing into the darkness of your own nature, and you're also navigating and sailing your way through your own internal waters. You may receive some illumination into mysteries of your own emotional nature on why you find yourself in some of the situations that you find yourself in, and also in knowing what direction to go in the first place to embrace your emotional nature or your own subconscious. There's a lot that you are able to access today on a deep level that perhaps some other times you don't even have access to this realm here. So, interesting. All right, so then you have trust. You need to trust that you're going in the right direction. You need to trust that everything is happening for a reason, and it's all meant to benefit you in your transition from an old world into a new world, or an old way of being into a new way of being. Magic is being awakened into your life, and you have opened this up somehow through moments of solitude, or realizing that even though you have people that love you and that you're connected to and that emotionally support you, some things that we go through in life, others aren't really able to understand because they're not you. It's like trying to describe a dream that you had to someone. Even in your head, when you're telling the story about your dream, you see the dream the way that you saw it. You're re-experiencing the dream again by talking about it. Other people can imagine it, other people can sympathize, other people can understand what you're saying on a certain level, but they're not going to experience it the way that you did because they weren't there. It wasn't their dream. And so there are certain things, even when you do have emotional support and soulmates in your life of all different kinds, there are certain things that we go through in our own emotional bodies that we can't really share with others, and we have to kind of go through them alone. And so you have to trust that you know how to navigate through all of this. But let me see what else I get with this. Tell me more about trust. Trusting yourself and your own intuition. Did you misplace your trust in the wrong person or in the wrong direction? Okay, tell me more about trust. You are almost forced onto a new path, but ultimately, even though it's not easy to get through this sudden change or sudden shock, it's leading you in the right direction. It's making you realize that something is just not able to be followed or able to be cultivated, and so it is forcing you in a new direction. Trust the process, even though it's difficult, because you have lightning. You might have received some kind of a sudden shock that you became aware of something that you weren't aware of before, which made you fear that perhaps who you thought was trustworthy turned out not to be trustworthy, or left you hanging. It is forcing you to go in a new direction and to start a new way of feeling. You can't go with the old, you have to go with the new, or you have to have your eyes set on a new goal in order for you to heal and also to open up more magic in your life. And you have to trust the process, that you know what direction to go in and to follow your own intuition, and that good things are about to happen. There's a new adventure that's awaiting you, and you need to let go of the old. Okay. So then you have disappointment. So there definitely is disappointment in here. With this situation here, something crashed and burned because you thought someone was there for you who wasn't, or you were left hanging and having to persevere on your own. But eventually you had to let that roof go, or you had to fall. You had to accept the fact that something was over, which is why you are moving forward in a new direction and navigating your own emotional waters, moving forward in a new direction. Which means you have to release the old, perhaps because it happened so suddenly, or you didn't think it was going to come to that. Whatever you were expecting with this, you were not expecting this. which has caused you disappointment, which you are learning how to let go of or release slowly but surely. But let me pick one more. What are you disappointed about? Memories. Memories, that's reminding me of the Six of Water. You're disappointed that things have happened the way that they have, or that certain things in the past played out the way that they did. The reason why this is so difficult is because there is genuine love there, or there is a genuine connection there, or you genuinely felt connected to that, and it's almost like, I don't know why I'm getting the words, but it's almost like chopping off your own arm to try to release it, because it was so much a part of you. Let me pick one more. What do these memories have to do with? Transformation. It feels as though you've lost something. But even though you felt you have lost certain things, it was all for the purpose of for you to be able to transform, or even transform old grief or disappointments in general, that you can manage to live through it, that you can manage to survive and keep on going, and that good things are on the horizon. Good things are on the horizon. This has not defeated you, or this has not killed you, or this has not ended you. You are able to live on. The show must go on. I'm getting the words. The show must go on. You can no longer linger in the past. You must move forward. You're trusting this process. You realize on a very deep level that this is the best thing for you to do, and so you are doing it. It's just you're in transition. You're in the middle of this change. So, your last one is the only thing that is real is love. Shift your focus from the problem back to love. So, no matter what, I mean, let's face it, soulmates are not always sunshine and roses and honey and milk. Sometimes soulmates are people that wound us. Sometimes soulmates are people that we are deeply connected with on a very spiritual level, where you almost in a way can't get rid of the connection. Because you are too connected to be able to completely disconnect. But you can disconnect your emotions to a certain point where personal loss does not get to you as much, because with the thing with that's so painful sometimes about soulmates is that we love them. So even when they hurt us, even if things don't work out, even if they teach us some really hard lessons, and sometimes feel like betrayers, or like they temporarily really just don't care about you at all, that caring is still there on a subtle, weird level that is almost impossible to get rid of. But if you go beyond the personal, you can realize that love is the only thing that matters. You can still love someone even if they have hurt you, because there is such a strong connection there. It's just you have to move from personal love up to unconditional love, which is a challenge that people have been facing for eons. It's easy to say the words unconditional love. It's a completely different thing to experience it or to try to sustain it, because we are in these individual bodies living these lives, and our lives are very personal, and we can't always stay in that elevated state of acceptance. But this is saying you can move past the loss or the disappointment into some kind of unconditional love here, or forgiveness. Yeah. So let me pick one final card for you. Is there anything else that they need to hear? Inspiration. It's almost like the last ghosts or the last bits of something very deep are coming to an end, so that you can become inspired again to follow a completely different path now, or to open up a new path in your life that you're inspired to follow. This may be giving you a lot of inspiration towards creativity, whether it's writing or art or music or whatever it happens to be. Trust that inspiration will stay, or trust that inspiration is coming. Continue to be inspired. Things are changing, and new horizons are opening up to you. You may be more aware of some very deeply felt aspects of your emotions, or your subconscious are coming to the surface in colorful and creative ways. And you need to trust the process, and also trust your inspirations. Bring them into being. Don't just let them swim in an undercurrent. You have to trust the process. Okay. Hopefully that helped or resonated for someone. And I shall see you guys for tomorrow, and also for the generals for February for all of the 12 signs of the zodiac. If for some reason you're interested in a private reading with me, my email is in the description box down below. Okay, take care, you guys. Bye.